What is it like being a Jamaican in Guyana? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, founder of Jamaicans.com. And today in Jamaicans to the World, I talk to Dr. Tamirand DeLisser. Hi, Tamir. How are you?
I am fine. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So my first question is, which part of Jamaica you come from?
All right. So that question is a little bit difficult because I'm not from one place really. I was born in St. Catherine. I spent my childhood days in St. Anne. I grew up in St. Anne in Wattown. And after high school, I went to Kingston.
All right. And which school are you representing? Which high school are you representing?
York Castle High School.
All right. Go York Castle.
Yellow and gold.
All right.
Yellow, gold, and black.
Oh, don't make them get you now. You better know your colors.
Yes, I'm saying yellow and gold because we have yellow and gold, but it's rarely gold and black.
All right. All right. So tell us about how you got to Guyana.
Okay, so how I got to Guyana is I don't even know exactly how I got to Guyana. It just happened to happen like that. I was studying in Switzerland and I returned home after completing my PhD. I was making this transition to China because I found a job in China and I literally did everything that I needed to do to go to China. I really only had to get my ticket. I had my permit, I had a job, I identified where to live, and my professor came to me, my Jamaican professor. In fact, my Guyanese professor living in Jamaica for umpteen of years, he
Okay, are
came
we
to me
talking
and
the
he
same?
asked me,
I hate to
huh?
interrupt you. Are we talking about the same professor in the language department at UWI?
Yes, that is Professor Hubert Devonish. Big up Professor
Yes,
Devonish all the time.
yes. All right. So then I
Yes,
know if that's your professor, you're into
yes.
languages. If that's a
So,
professor, you're into
right,
languages. All right.
I
We'll get
am.
to languages in a minute. We'll get there in a minute.
Okay. So Professor Devonish, he came to me. He asked me, um, "There's a job in Guyana. Why don't you go to Guyana?" And I'm like, "Prof, you know that I tell you I'm going to China." He said, "Oh yes, you're going to China. All right, no problem." So I thought about it for a little bit, and I considered my son, for example, who I'm thinking, okay, going to China, it means having him in a new environment, new language. Not that I'm really concerned about the new language, but more so the writing system. It will be difficult for him. To get him into an international school was really expensive because I checked out these things and I thought that, okay, maybe indeed it's better to go to Guyana. It's closer to home and everything. And I just changed my mind and I went back to Prof and I said, "Hey, is the job still available?" And he was like, "Yes, just send your application to whoever." I did. And that was it. I'm now in Guyana.
How many years?
I've been here since October 2016. So October will be 5 years that I'm here.
Okay, great, great. So tell us about the people in Guyana, and also in the same sense, how do the people in Guyana view Jamaicans?
People in Guyana absolutely love Jamaicans. You just need to say you're Jamaican and you can feel the love. It is nice here. The people in terms of culture, it's pretty similar to the Jamaican culture. They really love our dancehall music. The race is different because we have more Indians here than we would have in Jamaica. So I think it's like 40 something percent of the population would be Indians. You have 30 something, or I think like 29 being blacks. Another 10% is Amerindians, and you also have the mixed race. So you have Europeans and Chinese and so on.
Oh, very diverse, very diverse.
Very diverse.
So what are in terms of the people, are they, with Jamaicans, right? If we like you, you're going, no, we like you. What is the temperament, and how are the people like in Guyana? Are they, I don't know if they're similar. I don't think you find anything similar to us.
They are definitely not as outspoken and outgoing and direct as Jamaicans would be. I find them to be a little bit laid back. Let me not say them, but some of them, because I don't want to generalize. You understand?
Yeah.
But
yes,
some of them, they're very laid back. They would probably see that something is not necessarily going how it should be, but rather than see it as an issue, they would try to work around it rather than fixing it. One thing they would always say that tends to annoy me, whenever things go wrong, it's like, welcome to Guyana, as if, okay, welcome to Guyana. Okay. But yeah, they're definitely not like Jamaicans in that respect. We would always be more direct and outgoing and so on.
The welcome to Guyana sound like when we said, no problem, man, no problem.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. But then when we say no problem, it's really no problem. We, we don't make it a problem. We fix the problem. But they kind of are working around the problem.
All right, I
love you, my Chinese friends. Don't feel like I'm now saying anything.
No. I mean, every culture has their different, from doing this series, I realize every culture has their way about tackling stuff. And we may think it is, everybody thinks their way is maybe a better way or whatever, but no, it's not, and that's one of the things I've learned from doing this particular series, that everyone is different, and exploring that and knowing that gives you a better understanding. If I was to land in Guyana, I know, or somebody was to come to work in Guyana from Jamaica,
absolutely.
no, and so the information to me is just awesome information to know. But I'm going to touch on language. You mentioned Professor Devonish, so I know from you mentioned your professor and you mentioned the language thing, we have to get into this, because that's one of the things I like to discuss, the languages in a country. I know English is the main language there, but are there any other languages that are spoken there in Guyana by people, and is there even a mixture of different languages itself? We have Jamaica, we have English, and we have Patois. Talk to me about.
Well, in Guyana, English is said to be the official language. Normally, Guyana is seen as that country, the only South American country with English as the official language. The truth is that while English may be the official language, 95% of the population are not English speakers. They also have the Creole language, the Guyanese Creole, amicably called Creolese, and that would be similar to our Jamaican patois. So a lot of people you find would be, especially people in the city, you find that they would speak a variety that is probably close to English, but it is definitely not English. And so they may believe that they're speaking English, but it would be similar to our Jamaican situation. People are talking patois, but believing that they're speaking English. So besides the situation with the Creolese language, we do have other indigenous languages in Guyana. We have 10 languages that are spoken by the indigenous population. Some of these languages are on the verge of dying. They're They are spoken mainly by the older set of people. Um, they are really at risk because young people tend not to be encouraged to speak these languages.
Mm,
Normally parents would want their children to speak English because that is seen as a prestigious language, that is seen as a language that you can speak if you need to, progress in life. That is how it is brought across to a lot of people. So you end up finding that the Amerindian, or preferably term to use would be the indigenous languages,
right,
are suffering. They are suffering. Efforts are being made at the moment to revitalize these languages. Revitalize simply mean to bring back these languages, to have the
right,
young people speaking them and so on. So, for example, there is this project that is currently going on with the Wapishan language. This is in Region 9, where they have actually been using this language in school as a medium of instruction and interaction for the children at the lower grades, grades 1 and 2. So
okay.
they do have much diversity. They also have in Guyana the other European languages like Portuguese, because we are next to Brazil. So a lot of Brazilians tend to come over, and of course, they're not coming over without their language. And also, we have the Venezuelans who would come over with Spanish. So we do have that diversity. We have Haitians coming over with Haitian Creole also. On the Suriname borders, we have people speaking Sranan. Sranan is the local Creole that they have in Suriname. And yeah, we do have
Wow,
a lot of diversities in terms of language. It's like
wow,
a
that's
linguistic haven.
amazing. Yeah, it sounds like just a conversion, just a, you know,
And I think what is more amazing is because it's a really small population. Guyana has only about 750,000 people. So it's really small
Mm,
population to have this diversity.
I see. I see. Well, you and I will talk up. I'm sure there are struggles with, you know,
Indeed.
this the language and again, I don't want to get into any controversy here, but maybe they're going through the same thing where they're not recognizing something as a language. I've gone through my journey. I started out not believing Patois was a language, but some years ago, after some discussion with linguists and even my communication with Professor Devonish and just a lot of things, I am a strong believer it's a language, and I know there may be some debate going on there in terms of should this be recognized as a language, and maybe it's something that you're involved in. I don't know. Again, I don't want to get you in any trouble.
No, there's no trouble there. I am really excited with your advocacy because indeed it is a language, and people need to recognize that there is no difference, absolutely no difference when we speak about the ability, what the language can do compared to the European languages. We can do everything in Jamaican and probably even more, but
Let me tell you,
or in the two languages.
there is certain things that when you say it in Jamaican, it just sweeter,
Exactly.
it just nicer, it just get the point across. You
Exactly, because
can't
it
do it
is
no
our
better.
mother tongue. We speak from the heart, is our mother tongue. So that is it. We really need that for our languages to be seen as equal, to be recognized, to be given equal prestige. I really want to see that day when all Creole languages in the Caribbean, in particular, are put on that pedestal and we are equal to the English or European languages. I'm working towards that.
All right. And you and I will discuss some of this because, as I said, very interesting discussion. I'm going to move on real to food and food in Guyana. I know you and I spoke earlier. You're a pescatarian, So you don't eat everything that is there. So my question to you is going to be a little different. First of all, is the food seasoned well? Because I hear people talk all the time about the seasoning. And then the other question I'm going to ask you is this one. So it's two-part. How seasoned? Well, is it well seasoned, the stuff you're getting? And the other part is, in terms of something unusual, is there something unusual that you see, Guyanese people eat that, everybody else may say, oh, this is kind of different or whatever. We have our manish water, our goat head soup, a cow foot, a cow cod, different things that we eat that people may say, man, this is very unusual. Is there something that you have seen that they eat that's unusual?
Yeah. Well, as you indicated, because I am pescatarian, it's kind of difficult for me to say what exactly and whether the food is seasoned well and all of that. But in terms of the vegetarian food or fish, whatever I eat, normally they are okay. I don't want to be the person, the signature person talking about their food though, but they are generally good. They have their food, their Guyanese food, which I guess any meat eater should have once you come to Guyana, and that would normally be their pepper pot, which is some meat cooked in some sort of sauce, and I don't know. They actually do this pepper pot, vegetarian pepper pot for me because I'm vegetarian. But it's an acquired taste for me. I didn't really like it so much. But yeah, the regular meat pepper pot would be what Ghanaians would be fancying themselves about. And they also have their cook-up rice and stuff like that. What is different is they have this animal, I guess it's very rare animal in the jungle that I didn't even know of before I came here, which is called a laba. And they would normally eat that. So they have this saying that once you eat laba and drink the creek water, then you will never leave Guyana, because they have these water in the black creeks. And if you drink the water and you eat the lava, then that's it. You'll never leave Guyana. So I'm yet to do any of those things.
So you get to leave.
I certainly will get to leave when I'm ready.
So in terms of the laba, you talk about, because you are in South America, there is the Amazon that is next door to you in Brazil and so on. Nature, you also talk about a population that is not a huge population. So I'm thinking there is, rainforest, there is a lot of wild to explore, and the landscape is, so go ahead. You're about to talk about that a little bit.
Guyana is huge when you compare it to Jamaica. Jamaica can fit in Guyana probably like 20 times. So it's a really wide landscape. And as you mentioned, the Amazons and so on, we do have a lot of forest and so. So what you find, most of the indigenous population that I spoke about, they're living in the interior. So you have the majority of Guyanese are living on the coast. However, when you go into these interior communities, they are really beautiful. I'm talking about nature untouched. And that is what I really like about this country. I do love home. Home is always home. But I also like when you can explore, you have a wide space that you can just drive and explore. So it is really great when you can get to go to some of these indigenous communities and you see their way of life, and you can just get to enjoy the country as is. On good days, I guess, or probably bad days, I was told that you will probably happen to see a jaguar or something. I've never been lucky. You may
Wow.
see deers, you may see different things, different animals that we would have as exotic animals. Like we don't have that much monkeys in Jamaica unless you go to the zoo. But
Right.
sometimes you go into the interior and you'll see monkeys, like lots of monkeys.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really nice. It's really different. They have these black water creeks that I was telling you. If you drink the black water, it's literally black water.
Wow.
Anybody outside of Guyana, or for example, like when I just saw it, I'm like, I can't even see the bottom of that water. It's black. It's like you're looking at Pepsi. It's really black water, but they are really nice, beautiful black water creeks. I really like the interior. When you
So,
talk about rivers,
right.
Guyana has huge rivers. The first time, because this is not my first time in Guyana, I actually came once in 2006 on a field trip, and my first response when I saw the rivers are you sure those are rivers? You can't see the other side of the rivers. They are huge. It looks like the ocean to
Wow.
me.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is really nice.
You-
You
So
have like, I think,
you're actually touching
20-something
on
islands.
my next question, and it sounds like you're saying that the thing we must see and must do if we come there is explore Mother
Explore
Nature.
the interior, right? Explore the interior. That you won't lose on. But as you have that as your next question, there is the famous Kaitra Falls, which is the largest single drop waterfall in the world that is here in Guyana.
I was going to
So
ask
that
about that.
also
I was
is
going
it's
to
a must.
ask about that waterfall because I've heard about that waterfall. Have you visited and how it and
Yeah, that also is definitely a must see. Um, I will be real. I'll admit that based on how I thought about this, I I guess I wasn't as blown away as I expected that I would be. But it is
right?
great. It is nice. The day when we went, it wasn't the best day because it was raining and we had to rush and so on. But it is really a great experience. It's
All right.
amazing. You've never seen anything like that in the world. Definitely not in Guyana or anywhere where I've been. I mean, not in Jamaica, sorry, or
Right.
anywhere
Right.
where I've been. Right.
All right. All right. So I was gonna ask a little bit about adjustment. What is one of the biggest things you had to adjust to moving from Jamaica there? And then kind of as a two-part, you don't have to get into too much detail, but is it difficult in terms of the transition of working in Guyana? So in terms of paperwork and so on. So it's a two-part question to an extent, the adjustment, and then if somebody was thinking, I want to come live and work in Guyana, is it like a difficult process?
Okay, so in terms of adjustment, it wasn't difficult to adjust. In fact, I don't really can pinpoint anything much that I needed to adjust to because I mean, it's not the first that I'm being away from home. I've always been away from home. So coming to Guyana is nothing new. It's just another place that I've been. In terms, as I indicated, in terms of culture, it's pretty similar. You go in town and you see the city is pretty much like downtown Kingston, where you have people on the street. If you're taking public transportation, you have the buses and everybody trying to get you in a bus and all of that. So culturally, it's really similar. So adjusting was nothing, really nothing. And
Okay.
in terms of the paperwork, I guess because you're CSME, you can in fact get the certification. And with that CSME certification, well, if you identify a job, you would normally be allowed to stay. It's
Okay.
really easy to get. You actually go in town. I think you get a um, police record and a few documents, and you apply for this.
Right.
Normally, you would get a stamp in your passport for 6 months when you enter as a CARICOM national, and then you'd have to go back to actually get that stamp from the CSME, which gives you indefinite tenure.
Okay. Great. Great. Cost of living. Is it cost of living in comparison to Jamaica or even some of the other places you have lived? How is the cost of living?
Well, cost of living is cheap in comparison to Jamaica. It would be what I would want to say. It's cheap to live here. Um, Food and so on is cheap, but then at the same time, your salary is also lower than what you would get in Jamaica. So that's another thing. Comparing to where I've been, it is difficult to compare it to somewhere like Switzerland, where
Right.
everything is much more expensive,
Oh,
but also
oh
your
yeah.
salary is also much more money, and so on. So it's
That's
really
really
difficult to compare it like that.
all
But
right. All right.
it's
That's fair.
people can survive here easily.
Okay, good, good. The one thing I didn't touch on with food, and I always touch on when it comes to folks, when I talk to my folks who are, I know this is South America, but we kind of call it, I think sometimes we kind of take Guyana as a Caribbean, right? And or it's
Yes,
in both
it is.
places, and it's both places,
We're,
but
it's identified as both because we're washed by the Caribbean Sea and we're part of
right,
CARICOM, so we're very much Caribbean.
right. But the fruits, I didn't even ask you about the fruits. Are you getting all the fruits you see in Jamaica? Your mangoes and your naseberry and your, or are you getting all your fruits there?
You have most of the fruits here. Like the nisberry, they call it something else, sapadillo, but it's the same nisberry. Mangoes, they have mangoes, but it is definitely not my Julie mango. So that is it. You'll get your mangoes and so on, but it's different. It's not our
But,
Jamaican
but
mangoes.
you never
They
find
have
East Indian? You never find an East Indian? East
no, not
Indian,
East
Bombay?
Indian. We don't have those. We have some other mango that the people themselves don't even know what the mango name. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But yeah, it's just mangoes. So
Well, so at least
they're
you get
really
it.
good mangoes. They're sweet
Right.
mangoes. They look like our mangoes, but they taste like our mangoes, but not the Julie, not the East Indian. That's it. So you have the blackie, you have the stringy mango, and so on. The fruits, they have other fruits that we don't have in Jamaica. So that
Okay.
I also liked. Um, they
All right.
have yeah, and then some of our fruits, as I was indicating with the nisberry, they call it different names. So like
Mm,
our red apple, our Jamaican
the
red
OTET.
apple or otiti apple, they call
Right.
it cashew. And I'm like, cashew? How you call this cashew? But cashew is a nut. So we have those kind of little things, but it's really similar. It's nice being here.
All
The
right.
things that we have to eat, the fruits and vegetables, they have different names. They have more, well, not necessarily more, but new things, other things that we don't really get in Guyana,
So you
in
get to
Jamaica.
explore. You get to explore some of those things. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
wonderful. So I'm winding down, and here's one of the questions I ask. You land in Jamaica, get off the plane. What is that first thing you're doing? It's either some people say I'm kissing the ground, I'm going to the beach, I have a cane man, I have a coconut man I'm going to visit, I have this I'm going to do, I'm going Kentucky Fried Chicken, I'm going. So what is that first thing you're doing? You get off the plane, you land in Jamaica. What's that first thing?
For me, I am really not sure what's that first thing. I want some Jamaican food, that's for sure. Some ackee, our festival, our roast breadfruit, and our escovitch fish. Those are the things I want my Jamaican food. I
Oh,
know, like my son, when the last time when we came home, he was like, oh, he wants a patty because he would eat meat and he wants a patty. I got him the patty and stuff. But yeah, these are the little things. For me, it's definitely my aki and my
escovitch
escovitch
and
fish
your steamed
and
fish
so on.
also. So you have me open up another question. Isn't there, and I believe it's Guyana, isn't there like a Guyanese patty that is totally different from our patty? Is it Guyana? Or no, you haven't
Um,
encountered that?
nah,
Okay. All right.
they have a Jamaican patty here, which doesn't really taste like Jamaican patty.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'm gonna leave that one. So listen, Tamir, I appreciate the time you have spent with us, giving us so much information on Guyana. Any last words before I ask my final questions? Any word of advice for anyone that's thinking of making that move there or making a visit there, but more like making a move or thinking of working there? Any one piece of advice you'd give to them?
I'll tell them go for it. Go for it. It is always good to go somewhere else, explore, learn about other cultures. And Guyana is one place at this point in time where we expect massive development, especially with the oil finds and so on. So there is at the moment lots of projects, lots of works that are happening. And definitely, I would tell you, go for it. Jamaicans that are in Guyana will definitely embrace you, and the Guyanese will also embrace you.
All right. So here is
Yeah.
how I typically close. And you being into language, I didn't get into what you do, but I suspect you're into the language department or something to that extent. Is I
Yeah.
usually ask my guests to teach me how to say goodbye in the most informal way that they do it in the culture you're in. It could be in the Creole language there, it could be in another language, but how do we will say, boy, catch you later, little more, or the older folks say, catch up on a strong, or something like that. What would be a term you've heard there that they use informally to kind of say, hey, catch you later?
Now I have to think because all the terms that I would use in Jamaica are similar terms that are coming to my head, and I never really found it to be very different because that's how we speak back home. So I'm
Oh,
trying to see
wow.
if I can find something that is very uniquely Guyanese that we would not say in Jamaica. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Well, listen,
I
you could this
yeah.
one's this
It's
one's
all the Jamaican terms. Yeah,
wow.
definitely
Wow.
all
That,
the
that
Jamaican
is
terms.
impressive. That is
Later,
impressive to know. Yeah,
um,
that's impressive to know that it's basically very similar in terms of the terms they may
very
use.
similar. Because both the Guyanese Creole and the Jamaican patois, they're also very similar.
I see. I see.
Have
All right.
their differences, but they're really close. So you
All
can get
right.
by thinking that I'm Jamaican. Okay, I can get by. I understand.
All right. Well, on that, I will just say then, catch you later.
Now, okay, thanks for having me again. Take care or
Thank
walk good
you.
or something like that.
All right. Walk good. I like that one too. Show some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.